So I'm going to sit up for just a moment, and you can go ahead and lay down on your back. And let us begin. The thoracic spine is the rib cage, and the body works best when all of its components function together. So we want flexibility and mobility and suppleness throughout the body, but we also want to create a place where the rib cage can rotate but not too much, and it's just a sweet balance between. And the thoracic spine also has a lot to do with the scapula and the shoulders, the cervical spine, the neck, the low back, and with our breath, as the diaphragm also expands into the rib cage. So we'll enter our practice today with a sense of curiosity and inquiry. So let's make our way down to the mat. Have your blanket sort of rolled up and ready at the side. And as you lower yourself down, bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor, and let's start our practice today with a little bit of constructive rest. Shoulders down, feet on the mat, and just let your low back release for a moment. So if you were using a rolled up washcloth, then you could put it under your neck if you'd like that, or maybe even a folded hand towel beneath your head, so it's only about an inch or so to elevate yourself. And once we've arrived, let's exhale. And this will be so subtle that we'll have to really pay attention to it. That when we exhale, think about a weight dropping straight down onto your belly. And with that, think about your belly button pressing towards your spine, but without your pelvis tipping. So your sacrum is still on the floor. And just notice that sensation. And then release it. We'll do that a couple more times. With the breath, of course. So inhale. And then exhale. Press straight down. Your sacrum is still on the mat. And then release it. And let's do one more just like that. So exhale. Press. Straight down. It's a little more challenging, using different core muscles to get that action, and then release it. And now what we usually do is the pelvic tilt. So that will be a little bit different sensation. So when we exhale this time, yes, press your belly down, but also draw the pubic bone up a little towards your navel and let your tailbone lift off the floor. And then release that. And we'll do that 2 more times. So again, exhale, press your belly down and lift your tailbone ever so slightly. Push with your feet. And release. And one more just like that. So exhale, press your belly in. Relax your shoulders down. And then release. Now we'll take both knees towards the left. And I'm going to go really slow here. So roll to the outside edge of your left foot and the inside edge of your right foot. So what's important here, and I'm especially mindful of it today, is that the ankle and the knee stay aligned as we rotate the femur in the hip socket. So as you take your knees towards the side, we're not pushing with the knees. We follow the rotation of the femur bone. And then draw your belly in. Come back up to center. Plant your feet. And take both of your knees now towards the right, rolling to the outside and inside edge of your feet. And just notice, without pushing down with your knee. Draw your belly in, come back up to center. So yoga teaches us to begin to witness the body and what's happening in the moment, and to really experience the beauty of having a body and being able to move. So again, inhale both knees towards the left. Now once we arrive here, press your right shoulder, your right scapula down, And already what's happening is a gentle pull across the top of your right ribs and down to your left hip. Notice that. And then draw your belly in, bring your knees back up, and plant your feet. Now take both of your knees towards the right. And they don't have to go very far. Again, listen to your body. But once you arrive at what feels sort of like your edge, press your left shoulder down. Press your shoulder blade down. And notice the gentle pull from the bottom of your right hip up to the top of your rib cage. Now, the thoracic spine at this time isn't actually moving, but there's a pull along the fascia and the muscle fibers that connect everything, and then come back up to center. And then we'll just do an easy sway side to side, rolling across the low back. We'll come back to this position in a moment. But for now, I'd like us to roll onto the side. So it doesn't matter which side you start on. But you'll need either a pillow or your folded blanket to rest the side of your head. And then we'll take the arms out and clap the hands. Bring your knees up. If you like, this is a nice addition for many people, is to place a block here, just so your knees stay stacked, or another pillow or a blanket. So with your hands clasping and your head supported, so make some adjustments there. Begin to slide your top hand past your bottom hand and just reach and pause right there. Take a deep breath. Pull your hand back and let it meet the bottom hand. We'll do that 2 more times. Just reach past on your inhale, extend, take a breath, scan your body, bring your hand back to stack on your bottom hand. And we'll do that 1 more. So inhale, extend, reach, cross the shoulders, exhale. This time, inhale, reach your hand up, press down with your bottom hand, reach back just a little. And then come back. So let's try that again. This time we'll inhale and reach. Exhale, slide. And if you like, you can take your hand behind your head and open with your elbow. As you roll your head across the blanket, keep your knees stacked, your heart open. Press down with your bottom hand and bring your shoulders back to stack. Place your top hand on top of your bottom hand and again reach and extend out past your other fingertips. Slide your hand back and either place your hand behind your skull or just float it up. Press down with your bottom hand and bottom arm and open out to the side. And be careful here that you're not reefing with your arm. It's more about a rotation, a gentle rotation of your chest, of your thoracic spine. And then come back down. And let's do 1 more and then we'll float to the other side. So extend past, reach. Exhale, slide back. Pause. Inhale, float. And open. Even take your hand a little bit away from your shoulder, a little further away from you. And exhale, return. Beautiful. So we'll roll onto the other side now to do that. And I'm going to have to do a little shifting to get into that position with you, so I can face you. I guess I could do it just flipping over, but I want to be able to face you as we move in this way. So roll up your blanket or create the pillow. Stack your knees, and you can try this block or not. Decide what you like. Your knees are right out aligned with your hips. Make all those little adjustments to make it work for you. And extend out your arm and bring your palm on top. Make little adjustments. So when you're ready, On your next breath, inhale, extend and reach past your bottom hand. And exhale, pull back. Now you can slide your hand, your top hand up just to the wrist. And then inhale and extend. This is a somatic movement, getting into the subtle muscle fibers of the body. And then exhale, come back, and maybe pull just to your wrist. Let's do one more like that. Inhale, reach, and exhale, pull back, maybe just to your wrist. So if you like, keep doing that motion, but if you want to also reach up and rotate, we'll go there. So inhale, extend. Exhale, come back, and this is where you decide if you're going to press down with your bottom hand and bottom arm and rotate your top arm, and then rotate your heart. Exhale, return. And again, inhale, slide past and reach. Exhale, return. When you're ready, you can also take your hand now behind your skull, and as you inhale, open your elbow. Press down through your bottom arm. Stack your knees. Exhale, return. Last one, stack your palms. Inhale, extend past the bottom hand. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, lift your hands. And if you haven't tried the hand behind your skull yet, try it this time. Press down with your lower arm. Rotate your heart. Keep your knees stacked. Take a breath. Come back to center and release your hands. Beautiful. So we've done a little bit of mobility now for the upper back and the shoulder girdle, but I want to continue doing just a couple more things for the hips before we venture on to some more rotations. So switch yourself around and come back to constructive rest. And draw your right knee up towards your chest. Relax your shoulders down. Find your yoga strap and place it across the bottom of your right foot. Now, as we set the strap up, look at your toes. Make sure you're not collapsing to your little toe or into your bigger toe. You're just pressing evenly into the strap. And then walk your right hip away from your belly. Bend your right knee. Make a loop around the strap. So for me today, I would usually extend my left leg. But today I'm just going to explore what's the best place to be. So this is how it would work. Walk your left foot a little bit. Walk it a little bit more. Check in, and then a little bit more. Keep a lift to your left knee, even as you extend your leg. Press up with your right foot. Relax your shoulders down. Take a few moments to enjoy. Supta Padangusthasana, big toe pose. Relax your shoulders. Take another deep breath. Say good morning to your hamstrings. And with your right leg still extended, let's slide the left heel up towards us and plant the left foot. Slip the right foot out of the strap. Bend the right knee and bring your right foot to the floor. And just pause, let that sink. Bring your left knee up. Take the strap to the bottom of your left foot. Make the loop. Bend your left knee as much as you need to. So a key to this would be bend your knee enough to get your heel relatively stacked over your hip. So some days that might be more than others, but keep your left hip down, flex your left foot, and then do the baby steps of walking your right foot away, 1 step, 2, and at any time as you reach through your right leg, it starts to pull your pelvis. Drop your belly down into your low back, and then continue to glide if you like, and flex your right foot and lift your right knee. Take a few breaths. We're not in a hurry. An opportunity to explore. Deep breath. Glide your right heel back towards you. Plant your right foot. Take your left foot out of the strap and bend your left knee nice and slow. Bring your left foot to the floor. Swish your knees a little to the right and left. Take your yoga strap to the side. And when you're ready, roll to table pose. So at this point, you might want to unroll your blanket so you have a little cushion for your knees. Sometimes we feel like we need that, and sometimes we don't. So take your time to notice if this is going to be beneficial for you. And if we think about the thoracic spine, T1 through T12, we want to focus on the upper back. But as we know, when we explore cat-cow next, that when we move the upper back, the cervical spine and the lumbar spine are also going to move along with it. But our focus will be on that part of the spine today. So set yourself up in table. Spread your fingers wide. Look at your knees, they're a little bit apart. So again, if we're focusing on the rib cage or the thoracic spine, we'll think about lifting up. So draw your heart up between your shoulder blades. Now, as we note when we get here, we do this movement quite frequently, but now with the focus on the thoracic spine, we also notice that the low back, the lumbar spine, and the head release as well. As the upper back arches, the tail and the head release. And then as we exhale and drop the chest, lift your tailbone just a little, lift your head ever so slightly, and draw your belly in. Pull your heart forward. Let's move in that way about 3 more rounds with your breath. Inhale, cat. And exhale, cow spine. And again, inhale your cat back. And exhale, cow spine. Again, focus on the movement of your heart. So as you inhale, lift your heart up between your shoulder blades. Let's imagine that. And as you exhale, let your heart release and pull it through the gate of your shoulders and shine out through your heart. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Let's take the knees wider than the hips. And you can bring your big toes together if that works, or you just can have your knees apart. And sink your hips back, nice and slow. And maybe you go all the way and maybe you don't. Listen to your body. Draw your belly in and lift up onto just your finger pads. Take a moment. No pressure, no pushing. Let's explore. And when you're ready, walk both of your hands over towards the right. Create a space between your hands so they're shoulder distance. Drop your hips a little bit more. Release your head so your ears are aligned with your upper arm. Drop that left shoulder a bit more to even it out with your right. And take your right ear over towards your right shoulder. So stay with that for a moment and breathe into your left side. So what's happening now for our thoracic spine? We're coming into a little bit of a crescent pose, expanding the left side body and the ribs. Take another breath. And when you're ready, walk your hands back over to center. You can sit up a little bit more. And it's very possible to do this with your knees stacked. So don't worry about taking them wider if that doesn't work in your body. And as you take your arms over to the left, keep your hands shoulder distance apart. Sink your hips a little bit more. Release your head so your ears are aligned with your upper arm. Drop your right shoulder a bit more. And then take your, let's see about that. Let's take your left ear over towards your left shoulder to create a bit of a crescent in your spine. And as you arrive there, take a couple more breaths into your body. And come back to center. Reach your hands out in front. Pull yourself up. Now, if you're on a blanket, you can use that again in just a moment. But let's come into downward facing dog. So tuck your toes, walk your hands forward, pull the energy into your index finger and thumb, lift your hips. And if you're using your blanket, this is a nice little treat to do. As you fold your blanket, bring it kind of towards your hands. So I'm going to show you a little thing to do in our belly down back bend. So bend your knees, lift your hips, press back with your hands, roll your shoulders apart. Take a moment. And then walk forward. Come into a bit of a plank pose. Drop your knees if you like. A little bit of a modified plank. And then exhale, bring your heart down, your chin down. And there's the blanket. So it prevented our belly from coming to the floor. It's a little bit of a trick. And then release your feet, come up. Slide the blanket so it's just under your ribs. So your pubic bone and your low belly are on your mat. Your forearms are on the floor. And this is a way for us to explore a back bend, a little rotation and arch for the thoracic spine with not as much effort as we might explore if we weren't using the blanket. So if you'd rather not have the blanket, go ahead. Press through the top of your feet. Press down through your forearms. Draw your heart forward. Relax your shoulders down your back. Stay for a moment. Draw your tailbone. Even here, press down a little through your upper thigh bones. Stay for a moment. And lower. Let's move the blanket away. Stack your hands and rest. Come up into cobra with your hands out shoulder distance and your elbows bent. So look at your hands. Your elbows are stacked over your wrists. It's kind of an interesting position for your body. And as you push down, lift up and rotate your heart a little bit towards the right. A little bit of an upper back twist. And then exhale, come back and just rest. Make any little adjustments to your hands. I know it's a little tricky. So let's do the other side. Push down with your fingers. You can also use your hands here. I like to do this is just to create strength through the fingers and give the wrist a break. So inhale up. And now rotate your heart a little to the left. Come back to center. And release, let your forehead touch. Let's do one more on each side. But start by building it from the feet, pressing down, the upper thighs pressing down. Inhale, lift. Rotate your heart a little to the right. Come back to center, stay up, and rotate to the left. And come back down. Relax. Take your hands back by your hips with your palms up, your forehead down. Press to the top of your feet. Do just a little bit of exploration into Shalabhasana, locust pose. Can be very challenging, so please take your time and explore. This is the right place to be. Let's just start with the half version. So again, press down to the top of your feet, your upper thighs, press the pubic bone down, lift your palms, lift your shoulders, lift the back of your skull. Look down. Draw your fingers towards your toes. If you would like, you can also float your feet. Stay with your breath. Look down, not ahead. Stay with it. This is building pure back strength. And then lower, stack your hands again and rest. Nice deep breath. From here, hands beneath the shoulders. Draw your chin in. 3-part cobra, Bhujangasana. Inhale, come up just a little, baby cobra. And exhale, return. Let your forehead touch. And again, inhale, rise up. A little bit higher. Press through all of your knuckles. Exhale, return. This time, as you inhale and come up into your full cobra, keep pushing, pushing, pushing up onto your knees. You can come right up into downward dog if you like, or sink into child's pose. It's a yogi's choice. Bend your knees, swoop your tail up, bring your front ribs in. Take another deep breath into your back body. And from this place, whether you're in down dog or child's pose, let's make our way up to a forward fold Uttanasana. From downward facing dog, start to walk your feet towards your hands or your hands towards your feet. If you're in child's pose, make your way up to kneeling and stand upright. Drop your heels. Take a moment. Bring your hands up into your hip creases. Push down with your feet and rise up. Nice and slow. Come to your mountaintop. Come to Tadasana. Take a sip of water. Make any adjustments that you need. Look at your feet. They're parallel. Unlock your knees. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Turn your palms to face forward. Take a moment as you stand on your mountaintop in stillness. And when you're ready, inhale, raise your hands up. And exhale, pull your hands to your heart. Bow your chin. Inhale, straight up. And exhale, press down. Add a shoulder roll. Inhale and exhale. Again, come back to your mountaintop with your knees bent. Sink into all 4 corners of your feet. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, come home to your heart. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down, and release your hands. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, rise up. And exhale to your heart. Bow your chin. Inhale, straight up. Oh yeah, and exhale down. So this is an interesting journey into noticing about breath and the thoracic spine and the rib cage. So take a bit of a seat and grab your strap. Hopefully you have some kind of a strap. Doesn't have to be a yoga strap. This one is super long. You don't need this much length. So take it behind you, about this height, right, kind of beneath your armpits, and crisscross it like this. And hold it rather tightly in your hands. So this will tell us how the rib cage, the thoracic spine, moves with our breath. And some of us have a little rigidity to that movement. And so the lovely thing about it is yoga and other breath movements can also help us expand so we can take in a little more breath. Okay, so really kind of tighten up here. And when you inhale, bend your knees a little bit and notice the pressure against the strap and then let it slide. Exhale, tighten it up. So this will tell us how much expansion we have in the ribs when we take a deep breath. So again, inhale into the side and let your hands slide. Exhale, tighten it up. We'll do just one more like this. So when you inhale, notice, and then exhale. And release. So Jeff Powney would have a lot to say about that, about how much we should be able to expand into the strap. But I just feel that it's important to notice that and to work towards having a little more expansion without taking any sorts of measurements. So let's take the strap now and fold it in half. We'll do just one more movement with the strap and then we'll start some asanas. So roll your shoulders. Lift up, take your strap pretty wide, and bend your elbows. Bend your knees, bring your front ribs in and your skull back, and then press your strap back with a bend to your elbows. And try not to do a little face forward thing. Bring your skull back, reach a little more, and come slightly down. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another. Press the strap back. Find that just right place. Nice deep breath. Expand through the chest, the pectoral muscles. And then bring that strap back up, just over your head. Press down through both of your feet. Bring the strap up and over towards the right. Pull your skull back. Press evenly through your feet. Get your shoulders aligned. Come back to center and tip over now towards the left. Come back to center. Now take your feet a little wider. And this time, as we come over towards the right, bring your left shoulder down. Take a breath. Pull your skull back. Come back up. And over. We'll do one more just like that on this side. So tip up and over towards the left. Drop your left shoulder, ribs in, and then dip your left shoulder down a little. Come back up and come to center. Release the strap up and over, and let's set it to the side. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Float your arms up again with perhaps a little bit more freedom, and then exhale home to your heart. Roll your shoulders down your back. Walk your feet back into mountain pose. So let's do one more crescent on the side before we move along. Bring your right hand to your right thigh. Reach up with your left. Slide your right hand down, and just go part way at first. Just pause. Bring your front ribs in, your skull back. Bend your knees a little. Take a nice deep breath again into your left side ribs. So the fascia is getting all expansive and juicy from this movement and this breath. And then inhale up and exhale down. Let's do the other side. So now your left hand is on your thigh. Reach up with your right arm and drop your shoulder. Slide your hand down. Front ribs in. Skull back a little bit. Press evenly through your feet. Draw your belly in too. Take a moment, explore, and send some nice breath into your left side. Come back up and down. Shoulder roll up, back, and down. Hands on your hips, feet wide. Turn your toes out. And sit back into kind of a squat with your hands on your thighs and your elbows out. Align your heel with your knee. So we don't want any knees turning in. Make an adjustment. Draw your belly in, broaden through your shoulders. And now dip your right shoulder down as you rotate your heart. Just a different doorway into a bit of a twist for your thoracic spine. Pull your heels a bit towards one another. Take a moment. Come back to center. Stay right here. Take a breath. Inhale. Rotate now. Take your left shoulder down. Rotate your heart. Pull your heels a bit towards one another. Come back to center. And push with your feet. Rise up. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Take your feet parallel. This is where you might decide you want to use blocks for this. So if you know you will or would like to try it, have them ready. But from this wide stance, take your fingers to your hip crease, push your hips back, keep your spine long, and bring your fingertips, your palms or your fists to the floor. And if you're using blocks, you could definitely do this. Get up a little higher. Walk your feet to their comfortable distance. So set yourself up. So again, just another exploration into the thoracic spine from a different doorway. I think I'll take my blocks flat, and just that they give the hands a little more cushion. Bring your right hand up to your right hip. Check in with your feet that you're on all four corners. Draw your right hip down, just a little. And as you push through your left hand, bend your knees and rotate your heart again towards the right. And exhale back to center. Now extend your right arm out and look at it. Get your hands a little bit in front of your shoulder and slightly down. Bend your knees a little. And as you push through your left hand again, rotate your heart. Exhale, come down. Let your fingers brush the floor or close to it. And take your fingers across and point them towards your left toe. Drop your right shoulder. Keep your left arm straight. Let's do that again. Sweep, inhale, and rotate. Keep your hand nice and extended from your shoulder, not pulling back. And exhale, sweep across. Drop your right shoulder. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, rotate, float up. And exhale, float down. Beautiful. Come back to center. Place both hands in front of you. Create a moment of symmetry. Bend your knees a little. Pull your tail back. Lift your belly. Connect to the earth through your hands and your feet. Lift up your front body towards your back body. Draw the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back. So the other side, same thing. Bring your left hand now to your left hip and kind of anchor it a little. As you push through the floor or your block, rotate your heart now a little bit to the left. And come back down. So another way to do this, I'm going to show you two more ways. Bring the back of your hand down by your sacrum, pull your belly into it, and then open. That might change the sensations in your body. And then come back down. Another way, you might have tried this before, bring your fingertips behind your ear. And as you push through the floor again, rotate your heart. So that was 3 different ways to do it. And you might try all 3 and just notice the subtle shift from it. Now we'll do it with the arm extended, but if you would rather keep your hand at your low back, on your hip, or behind your ear instead, please do. So extend, push down through the floor as you rotate your heart. Exhale, sweep your hand down and reach it behind your right wrist and just point it towards your toes. They don't have to touch. They might, but they don't have to. And then sweep, inhale, and rotate. Exhale, nice and slow. And you can, I think it's beneficial to have the left arm a little floaty here as we float it up. And then exhale, float it down. And across. Come back, place your hands on your blocks. Walk or hop your feet in. Come into a forward fold. Use your blocks if you like, right here. Sink a little deeper. Crisscross your wrists, palms up. Push down and rise up. Reach up to the sky and exhale, pull it home to your heart. Lovely. Bring your hands to your hips again and take your feet wide. Move your blocks behind you. So many of our yoga asanas, there's a subtle rotation of the thoracic spine. And perhaps we're more focused on the hips or the feet or the shoulders or something. But just as a reminder, the thoracic spine has a subtle effect on the shoulders, the scapula, the neck, the lumbar spine. And so another reminder that everything is connected in the body. So let's start exploring. Let's lift up your left foot and rotate it. And just step back a little with your right heel. And your stance doesn't have to be really wide apart. Heel to heel alignment. Now bend your front knee and just lean into it a little bit. Your hand on your thigh. Lift your belly. Stack your shoulders. So even here, there's a little rotation of the ribs to get shoulder on top of shoulder. Side angle pose. Float your arm up. Stay with it for a moment. Push down with your feet, come up, and release your right arm. So from here, we'll go into a deeper rotation of the whole torso as we move into a little bit of a flow. So both legs are straight. Float up your right arm. Then start to bend your left knee and rotate your pelvis, your ribs, your upper body, your whole torso. You might want to adjust your back foot. So align and then lean a little. Push through both feet. You don't have to go very deep here. Find your way. Push through both feet. Inhale, lengthen. And rotate your heart and exhale, palm down. Look back at your right fingertips. Let's do that again. Inhale, scoop up. Start to bend your front knee. Start to rotate. And a little reach. Push down through both feet. Inhale, up. Exhale, release. Look back. Can we do one more on this side? Scoop up. So both legs are straight at this moment. And then we start to rotate. Bend the knee. And a little reach. Push down through your feet. Rise up. Release your arm. Walk your feet back to parallel. Shoulder roll a couple times. And we'll move that way on the other side. So let's float up the right foot. Take your time. Pull back with your left heel. Now, if you know you like a wider stance or a narrow stance, just play with that. It's okay. And we'll start with side angle and then we'll go into the flow. So bend your knee nice and slow right over your heel. Scoop that right hip a little bit under. Plant your palm on your thigh. Press through all of your toes, all four corners of your feet. You don't have to bend your knee very deeply, just a little bit. Let's explore that even. Anchor down through your left heel. And then float your left arm up. Bend, tip. Now here's the rotation. So let's take the left fingertips to the right shoulder. So we can rotate open, then come up, and then lean in. Front ribs in. Skull back. Pull that hip under your shoulder. Press evenly through your feet. Push down and come up. And exhale. So that will start with the flow. Adjust your feet if you feel like you were too wide or you wanted to go wider. So let's begin. Both legs are straight. Float your left arm up. Start to bend the knee. Take your hand to it. Thigh. Rotate here. Then you can lift your back heel if you want a little bit more. Reach by angling your foot a little more forward, almost like a warrior one stance. And then push down to come up. And here's the rotation again. And look back at your left fingertips. Here we go. Inhale up. Exhale, start to bend and rotate. And reach just a little. Push down with both of your feet. Come up. Lengthen. Exhale, release. I'm going to walk my front foot a little wider and see if you want to try that, how that feels in your body. So here we go. Inhale up. Bend the knee. Rotate your heart. Lean into it. Stack your shoulders. When you're ready, push down with your feet and rise up. Exhale, release. Excellent. Walk your feet back in. Heel toe, heel toe. Come to stand on your mountaintop. Roll your shoulders down. Take a nice deep breath. We have one last standing movement before we make our way down. I did want to do a little bit of a seated rotation for the thoracic spine. So we'll get to that in a moment. So take your feet a little wider, again like yoga mat's distance. Intertwine your fingers. And you can take them behind your skull so you can pull your head towards them, or on top so you can lift up. Whatever works best for you. Now let's lift the right heel and lift the left elbow. And at this point, bring your front ribs in. Press your skull into your hands. Take another deep breath. Drop your heel and come back to center. Take a breath. Bend your knees a little. It's a little different doorway into crescent pose. So now the other side. We'll lift the left heel and pull up with the right elbow. Bring your front ribs in. A little, draw your skull back. Play around with it. Press your skull into your hands. And just notice. Come back to center, drop your heel. Take the back of your hands to your head. Inhale up. Exhale forward and down. And rotate your palms to your chest. Reach out. Reach. Take up as much space as you can with your fingers. Relax your shoulders. Take your hands behind you and clasp them if that's available. Roll your shoulders down, bend your knees a little, squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your hands, just for a moment. And release your hands, float them up, and exhale home to the heart. Walk back in. Now if you have a yoga block handy, sit in a bit of a squat position to find it, and take the block between the thighs. A little inner rotation of the thigh bones, perhaps. Your feet will tell you when you're resting in all four corners of your feet. This will align your feet, your knees, your pelvis, your shoulders, your skull. Float your arms up, shoulders down. Sink back. Pull your tailbone back. Draw your belly in. Now there's many subtle things to check in with here. Once we've arrived, take one of your hands to your back waistline. And just note, if you're doing like a cow spine, try to pull your belly in. If you're rounding into a cat back, then try to find neutral. Takes a little bit of whole front body support, but not so much you're in a cat back. And then tip over and find the floor. Take your block away. come down to sit again and use your blanket to sit up on, your roll blanket. All right, let's do this. So plant your feet. Have your blocks ready if you need a little more support for your knees. So as we sit up on top of the blanket, we'll pull the heart forward and make sure we're not collapsing on the tailbone, but we're more up on the sits bones. And then bring your left foot over towards your right hip and bring your right foot in. Pull your heart forward. Sit nice and tall. Keep your left hand on your shin bone and open up your right arm. Start to rotate your heart and take your hand behind you to either the floor or your blanket and prop yourself up a little higher, but keep the shoulder relaxed. Rotate your heart. Press through the big toe of your right foot, evenly through all four corners. Rotate your heart. Take a moment. So again, just find a natural edge and let's not push past it. Instead, think length to your spine. And come back to center. Now bring your left foot forward and bend your right knee. Bring it across. So this is where you might decide you want to use a little bit of a prop beneath your knee. Yogi's choice. Bring the heel in, sit up a little taller. Keep your hand on your shin and extend out your left arm. And then be careful not to round into a cat back. Stay tall, rotate your heart, and take your fingertips behind you. Stay tall, rotate. And you can think of your spine like a spiral staircase that floats up and around from the center line. Stay for another breath or two. Relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath. And come back to center. Plant both feet. Scooch off your blanket. Come onto your mat. Take your blanket to the side. So one thing I wanted to explore with you, now that we're here, is here's your blanket. And can you fold it in a way that it's kind of in half and in half again? And then take the fringy, if you have a fringy one like me, the fringe or the open ends will be facing away from you. And then roll up your blanket just like a third of the way. So you have about a 2-inch roll, like this. So if you want to try this, go ahead. So the reasoning behind all this is that now we come down in a supine, in a supported, little bit of a back bend. So as we come down onto the mat, we'll take our time getting here. We'll bring the hands over the roll and bring your arms out to the side. Bend your knees. So we want the roll right beneath the shoulder blades. Or right there. So if you know what a bra line is, that's where it is. All right, so now that we've arrived, we want the armpits over the roll, the shoulders on the flat part of the blanket, and the arms out to the side. And if you feel like your head is dropping back too far, then just take this fringy end, the open end, and roll it to create a little bit of a lift. Okay, here we are, we've arrived. Just take a moment to rest here. And if you love this, you can stay a little bit longer. But as you close your eyes and begin to drift a little bit deeper with your breath, just take note how open-hearted you are. And remember that throughout the day, that within you, you carry a spark of life and light, and shine it out into the world. So if you like, you can stay here longer. It's a lovely place to be. But if you would like to move along, then you can roll off that blanket and roll it away. Come back down onto the mat instead. And maybe swish your knees a little to the right and left once more. And walk your feet in so your ankles touch and your knees touch in sacral sway, and sway them a little side to side. And if you like, again, if you're still up on the blanket roll, enjoy that. If you'd like to come into Baddha Konasana, open your knees away, bring your feet together, and tuck a block behind each knee. So you know that one. You can also just come into constructive rest in a little bit different way where your knees touch and your feet are wider, which will also release your low back a little bit. Come into whatever position you feel you can rest in for another moment or two. The classic Shavasana is also nice. So many doorways into rest. Take your time. We have time. And when you're ready, begin to transition. So roll to your side and make your way up again to a seated position in whichever way you like to sit. So you sit on a block or maybe your rolled blanket again. Take your time getting there. When you're ready, whatever way you've decided to sit yourself, bring your hands home to your heart. Let's inhale up as we offer, and exhale, press down. Inhale, scoop up. And from here, exhale, bring your thumbs down to rest upon your forehead. And bring your fingertips to your chin. And then rest your thumbs on top of that beautiful heart. Bow your chin and tip your pelvis. And in this way, we can bow to one another and still honor that beautiful light within. Namaste.